Peace and blessings and namaste to all light warriors, workers, and everything in between. It is I, Sophie, today, and he's back. By popular demand, we have Rand joining us today. How are you?
I'm doing good, Sophie. Thanks for having me again. I appreciate it.
Oh my God. So I'm going to jump right in. I did not prepare Rand for this question, and I'm getting ready to answer him. Okay. And I wanted to catch
Okay.
his raw, authentic reaction to it. Rand, have you been hearing a lot of claims about 3 days of darkness that are supposed to be imminent coming up? And
Sure.
what do you know about it?
Well, I don't know about. I haven't heard it recently. Although, as you know, humanity's awakened over the more and more over the past 20 years, it's become more of a repeated biblical phrase, right? I mean,
Yeah.
my first exposure was Sunday school, like a lot of people, right? But but this 3 days of darkness, I think it's morphine. It's morphed. It's morphine. It's a different understanding. What is the 3 days of darkness? Is it a prescription for dealing with our, dark night of the soul? Is it just a prescription of something that we should, go by in order to transform our consciousness and evolve our soul? Or is it something that is, predicted to occur? I really don't know the answer to this. I don't know if anybody really does, but we've got some major global changes taking place right now. It's not the global warming quite like the powers that be like to put out. The sun is in a solar minimum, so we're having a lot of activity from the sun right now. So anticipating multiple solar flares that repeated a lot right now. So a lot of these changes, these geological changes and solar changes that are taking place right now, that could eventually form into some type of manifestation of 3 days of darkness. But I don't know of anything concrete. I don't know of anybody who really does.
Okay. Now, the reason why I asked you that is because I'm getting ready to share something that happened last year in 2020, maybe around the end of August, going right into September. 3 days in a row, right? 3 evenings in a row, I dreamt that this happened. Okay. Once I was in my store like this, I was ringing up a customer, everything said, like it made that noise like that, and I was in darkness. Okay. And
Okay.
then I woke up from that. The second night, I was in a hotel and I had my cat in my hand. Okay. And I just heard again, woo, everything went dark. You heard the screeching outside, like of tires. I guess the lights and everything went out. And then the third time that this happened, I was in the bathroom. Okay. And the same thing happened. So immediately, without even trying to check or, just meditate to find out what was going on, I went into panic mode. And I called my little collective group and I said, hey, we're getting ready to face the 3 days of darkness. Maybe we need to go ahead and get some supplies. So we all went out and got water, apocalypse stuff, which actually includes toilet tissue for Tennessee for some reason.
Yeah. Well, I think that was the whole country at that one time. But so, when did this dream take place again?
It was around the very end of August of 2020, going into September, and it was 3 days in a row. And so when I called
Okay.
the meeting, I had all of us go out and get all of these supplies. And we waited because typically if something like that happens, maybe within the next couple of weeks, I will see it come to pass, but nothing ever happened. Right. So
Okay. Mhm.
we had all of the supplies. Now everybody's looking at me like, why did you, make us panic? And then I finally went into, a meditation later on, and I was trying to figure out what I was seeing. And I got the message that it actually happened last year on another timeline. And I didn't know what to think of that because now we're looking for it, and a lot of the collective was looking for it to happen this year, but I'm weirded out because I think it happened already, but I don't
Yeah,
know. What are your thoughts on that?
I can understand that. Thank you for sharing that. First off, it's interesting to contemplate. I think a lot of things that have been prophesized throughout the years, things we've heard about for decades now. I think a lot of these things didn't come to pass, or the things that are assumed to come to pass won't because of higher timelines we're merging with. Where exactly do we lie on our
Right.
uh, timeline evolution? It's hard to get a grasp of that. but we're making a video right now talking about timelines. This wasn't happening this much 20 years ago.
Right.
We are evolving at such a rapid pace right now. I think we're going to have a much better handle on things in the next 10 minutes and a lot better handle on things in the next 10 years. So, you know what, we're still breathing. You know, we still see a fighting chance in this world of our spiritual ascension. So I'd say we're doing pretty good. But in terms of the 3 days of darkness, I don't know how to really speak to that. I think the fact that you had your cat with you, I think that was pretty powerful in the
Right.
dream, you know?
It really was. And I brought that up to say this. I'm trying to figure out, it's so much that we read and we bring into our consciousness. Is it a possibility that we can initiate self-fulfilling prophecies? Like if you're believing something is going to happen and a lot of the collective are believing this is going to happen, that they'll actually manifest it happening?
And that's a question?
Yeah. I'm
But of
asking you.
course. Yeah, I mean that's how this whole game is played. That is the fuel and the building materials is consciousness. That's what all this is. I mean, that's all there is consciousness, right? Doesn't matter if you're talking about X-rays, gamma rays, it's all a spectrum of light, gnosis, consciousness. And so the powers that be tried to put, you know, our creative abilities to work for them. That's why they put out the movies that they do. That's why they put the programming out that they do. I would even go as far as a lot of beliefs that people have about different planets in the solar system are just things that they're using our consciousness to create these worlds that they can eventually teleport to get out of here, to get because things are getting hairy here, and they're not going to be able to survive with these high frequencies. So they're using our consciousness to create what they want. So the answer to your question is absolutely, of course.
It's interesting that you were saying that about the planets and how we're creating them, because that's actually in the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, what he was talking about, how
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah, it's in the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. He was talking about how he had ascended and visited these worlds, and he was amazed at how man's capability of creating, like he was seeing cities and stuff like that, that there were certain beings. He didn't say all of them though. You know, he was said that there was a certain group that have, I guess, surpassed a certain level of consciousness, and then they have the ability to create these worlds, and he was out there viewing them, you know. So I believe it. I believe it. The thing that was, I guess, puzzling me about those 3 nights in a row that I had that dream of the power outage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was that it wasn't, these were 3 separate occurrences, you know, as opposed to having 3 days of darkness where, you know, the power goes out one day and then the second and third is already dark. With this dream, there were 3 separate occasions as if the power was going out, which made me start to really reflect on being multidimensional, as if it was possible that these were variations of myself that was actually going through that at the exact same time, because I always started out with light.
Yeah, well, anticipation of the grid going down due to a solar flare is a popular fear. It's a popular consideration. So which timeline is this happening on? I don't know. I really don't know, but I do know the quicker way to ascend or to get our soul to a higher evolved state is to blend these timelines together by making the most out of the timeline that which you're in presently, and blend everything together, the other yous, the other realities into one, right?
Oh, do you know how to help the audience do that or achieve that? To blend them?
Everybody eat right, meditate, get free of EMF fields, connect to nature. That's how we do this thing.
Okay, very good. Now, with also going back to these 3 days of darkness and the solar flash and to bring it down to the grids. Do you think that if we just completely got rid of all of this, like, I mean, because we are living in all types of conspiracy theorists and theories, and we got all of these truths going on, and even the unpopular truths are still popular truths, you know, which leads me back into the realm of duality here. Okay, you have the mainstream media that is putting out their stuff, you know, and we already know that that's right. And then you have the hidden media of YouTube, but they're still very popular too. And we only seem to be presented with these 2 It's either you're for it or you are against it.
Sure, yeah.
So now that brings me back to the mind of the realm of duality. Like, okay, why does this both feel fake to me?
It's the fundamentals of communism, my dear. You get two choices. It's all you get: red or white, Republican or Democrat.
There you go.
So, I mean, that's pretty much it. That's what, keeping somebody in duality, your consciousness in duality, is a fragmentation of consciousness and an easy way to dominate, right?
Yeah. How do we get past it? Just take it. Just turn off everything, or possibly just spend more time focusing on, I guess, creating what we want to see, as opposed to staying in a state of fear, because I still see that as fear too. Okay. Now, I know some may not agree, but if I'm constantly watching shows that are saying, oh, prepare for the zombie apocalypse, prepare for the 3 days of darkness, prepare for the this, that, and the third, it still is causing anxiety to people. I mean, would you agree that that's still a level of fear?
Absolutely. I mean, Sophia, we live in an age of Aquarius. We're just coming into the age of Aquarius, so it's a mental age, and we've given our power to the government, elected body that is governing the mind, right? Controlling the mind, the government, in the new Aquarian age. So we are living in a cesspool of information all the time. We've got some more information that we're processing all the time. We live in a mind fuck, or we can choose not to. It's how much do you want to tune out? I would say chuck your TV out the window. I don't even watch TV. I don't own a TV. Chuck your television out the window. Kill your TV, as the old bumper sticker from the 80s said.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It's a weapon. Television is a weapon, and it steals and robs your consciousness. You're going to blame the people that produce Netflix, or you're going to blame the government. We have complete sovereign right over our own consciousness. You chuck your TV out the window, you go connect with nature, you find that you have completely new thoughts and insights that are coming in from the ethers, which is your own consciousness. And you get to dictate how you create your reality based on having your consciousness freed up to let it connect with the ethers, connect with the nature, the cosmos, naturally, as it's quote unquote meant to be, in sympathetic harmonic resonance. Not with electromagnetic frequency, not with a TV that puts out false light, false gnosis, false information, right? What that is.
So what do we say to the people that feel like, okay, we don't watch TV either, but now the YouTube is a new addiction?
There's a balance, isn't there? There's got to be a balance, because we want to watch YouTube, we want to watch the spiritual videos, we want to watch astrological videos, because we want to tap in and tune on and tune in and get that get on that wave of awareness. It's a balance, and I think, and I know I talked about chucking the TV out the window, and there's some truth to that, but there's a balance, and I think there's got to be an acceptable amount of information we take in. Again, that's given up to the individual. This is a free will multiverse, so people have to choose what they do. Am I going to take that shot of tequila, or am I going to take a shot of wheatgrass? Am I going to binge watch Netflix all day on my day off, or am I going to balance it with some spiritual videos and actually go running or meditating or yoga? Right? There's a prescription up to everybody. Everybody has got to create their own prescription, right?
So exactly. So I guess what we're trying to say here is what we are paying our attention to is the reality that we are creating for ourselves. So if we're vibrating on a frequency of fear or uncertainty, then that's what we're probably manifesting in our consciousness, and we need to be more grounded. Is that what we're saying, right?
It seems to be the case.
Okay. And we need to be a little bit more grounded, get out in nature a little bit more. And I'm going to take it one step further. You know why? Because when I was younger, I had this philosophy that I always lived by. And it said, if the masses are focusing this way, then I need to be looking that way. Okay. So anything that was popular, I always looked at the opposition. Just because I always felt like if it was the most popular thing to do, then that means that it was pushed. Okay. This is where we want the whole minds or the collectives to go. So if I saw it over and over and over and over again, that's when I started researching the opposite of whatever it is that was pushing. And then I would find out, I would typically go with the opposite, but now I'm finding out that I can find my truth typically somewhere in between.
You know, Sophia, it's always a reflection, right? It's what's happening on the global stage, what's taking place in that way, and then you can always take it back to yourself. This is what's happening in politics right now. This is what they're doing with the economy right now. This is the illusion. How is this reflecting back to me? Because there's always going to be that point of reflection that, or how are you deceiving yourself? How are you distracting yourself? What do you need to focus on instead of what you are focusing on,
Right.
right? So you can always look to the external world for your own betterment. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. So everybody likes the way that you deal with certain aspects of astrology, right? So of course I'm going to sit here and ask you, what is in store for us? What are you seeing?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, you know, astrology is something that's on my mind on a daily basis, and I think a lot of us, as you say, light warriors and light workers,
And
people that are
everything in
on
between.
awakened spiritual. Say again.
I said, and everything in between, but go ahead.
And everything in between. All of us as a waking global society, particularly the ones really on awakened spiritual path. I think you know, I'm not an astrologer, but I think using astrology as a tool in your tool belt is part of the dynamic of this lifetime. So, you know, we have yoga, we eat living food, we meditate, we exercise, and we use astrology. And it's just a tool in everybody's toolbox, or it's becoming more and more of a common tool in people's toolbox. Of course, I'm in my 40s, so I've looked at astrology for a long time, and I understand it to a large degree, but I'm not an astrologer, and I would never choose to proclaim to be one. However, what I am seeing, to get to your question's answer, is we're coming up on a full moon. We're coming up on a double full moon in Aquarius. Since I think it was the middle of 2020, the lunar cycles have been off. So we've had double of the same sign a few times. It hasn't been the opposite sign like it typically is to where the sun is.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And it just kind of speaks to how things have been jumbled up on the planet. So the
Right.
lunar cycle is a bit jumbled up. And now for the remainder of 2021 into 2022, they're going to start resetting and be balanced again. So it starts next month. So the sun is now just coming into Leo. Next month, we're going to have another full moon in Aquarius, which is Leo's polar opposite sign.
Okay.
So after next month, they're going to be back on a balanced lunar cycle. This month, we have a full moon in Aquarius in just a couple of days from when this video is being recorded. This is going to be a tricky full moon because this full moon is being sandwiched in between Saturn and Pluto. So a lot of things are coming ahead for a lot of people, where people feel literally between a rock and a hard place. Yeah, do you feel that? You resonate with that?
Absolutely, yes. Not only me, but my friends. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the good thing about this, it's a culmination. So it's a full moon, which means it's an ending, it's a culmination, and there's going to be a breakthrough with this. We're going to feel the pain, we're going to feel the discomfort, we're going to feel the disease of this. It's going to break through, we're going to get the clarity, and things are going to get better, like they always do. We get over the obstacles, we get over the humps, and they get better. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Because this month was hell on wheels to a lot of people that I know. Okay. They were calling. I mean, jobs was lost. Okay. People couldn't figure out how they were going to make a living, you know, and it seemed abrupt. It wasn't like, okay, I got 3 strikes or I'm messing up. It was like, okay, we don't need you anymore. So we had that going on. We had relationships, crying, tears, like a lot of things happened this month. And I just kept saying, you know, to everybody, just, you know, hold it out, just hold out. I don't know. I thought 2020 had its foot up our, you know, arses, but, and I was expecting 21 to come through here and just be like, ta-da, here's everything that you ever lost back. Here it is on a silver platter. Merry Christmas. And that didn't happen. So I guess I should be feeling hopeful for what you're saying, that later on that this is going to balance itself out and make some sense.
Yeah, well, ask yourself this. Do you feel better right now than you did this time last year? Do you feel more hope?
I do. I do. I do. You know what? Let me think about that for a second.
In different ways, maybe in
Okay,
different
in
ways.
2 different ways, right? Because last year was when I first launched my business, right? So there was a certain level of excitement, and then it was new, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I was meeting people, I was greeting people, and this, that, and the third. This year was more of a lull with that, but I upped in connections. Like, you know, I met you and I met some other people, you know, so I upped in networking, you know, connections and meeting people that are important.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little bit more joy this season, where it was a little bit more stress last year because I didn't quite know what was going on with me, you know, during that time. And now I have clarity about it. But I'm thinking, I'm one of those people that if it didn't start off like this and it's a slow climb, I can very easily get discouraged and go, okay, well, I'm just going to put this off until next year. And then when
Yeah.
2022 comes, I'm thinking that's going to take off and launch too, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I know that's
No,
not.
no, I understand. In fact, I remember in 2020, I would hear astrologers and different intuitives talk about 2021, and they said, "Well,
Right.
next year is going to be a reset year. It's going to be a better year. It's going to be a reset year, reset year, reset year." And I kept hearing the word reset. I was like, "Reset? Okay, I get it." Well, we just got our ass handed to us this year in 2020, and now next year it's going to be a reset. It's going to be we can throw the confetti.
Right.
And I find it took me 6 months of this year to realize that this is not a confetti throwing year. This is a this is a reset year. It's a rebuilding year. So we
Right.
just, like I said, we just got broken down in 2020. We have to grow ourselves back up, and that's going to take a while. So although this is a better year, there are still clearly some challenges. I mean, we both talked off air about our own
Yeah.
personal challenges. It's been a difficult year. It truly has. However, we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. That's the big thing. I think we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. There's more hope, along with the challenges. There's no confetti being thrown. There's no parties being had, but we can have more gratitude. We can have more hope, and we can begin to cultivate more of that internal strength to put forward to manifesting a better future. Because this is going to get better,
It has
Sophia.
to.
It is getting better, and it can only get better the better we make the now, make this moment, right?
Right, right, right. It has to. And I just keep speaking that over myself over and over and over again. You know,
And
one
connecting
thing.
to like minds and like hearts is it's so much of a blessing. I'm so grateful for our friendship. I truly am.
Oh, me too. Thank you. He only walked into my store, what, about a month ago? 2 months ago?
It seems like yesterday, but it's been like 2 months, I think.
Yep. Yep. And that's how I run into most of my enlightened connections here, you know.
Uh,
But he's amazing. And I don't know. Is there anything else that you want to tackle?
Not
Give
so
us some
much right
hope
now.
and inspiration.
Yeah,
Go
well,
ahead.
nothing's on my prefrontal cortex. It's nothing sitting there. But this is this week's video, and I don't know if you want to let everybody know we can do another video next week if people seem to want it.
Okay, so yes, what we've decided to do against, you know, my better judgment, I would like to have more on all the time, but Rand says that he wants to do a video once a week. And I think that's a good idea because actually, a lot of you who like this type of conversations going back and forth between the divine feminine and divine masculine, at the end of this video or in the comment section, if there's something that you would like for us to discuss, put it in there, you know, because we're kind of open. And if we don't know the answer, we'll just tell you we don't know. You know, but for the most part, I would like to kind of include you guys in it because we're exploring all of these new ideas, all of this new knowledge
Yeah.
is coming through, all this new information is coming through. And I know you like to hear a man's perspective. Y'all hear me all the time doing this, right? So, so we want to do this every Friday, okay, until it starts building and until I convince them to do more. And then, you know, if you have something that you want to share or you want us to discuss, let us know.
Sounds great.
Is that all, dear heart? Are we good?
Yes, ma'am. For this moment, absolutely. And thank you again for having me.
All right. Thank you, Rand. And I am Sophie, and this is Rand, and we love you all. Bye.
Much love. Thank you. Bye, Sophie.
Bye.